is that? I can never say it. I ate it for breakfast this morning.
Geta.
Tell us what's in it.
Tell me the history of Geta.
I don't know the history of Geta.
You've told me before. You do know.
I know that it is, German descent, and that I think it came out of the Great Depression because it was a way
food
to ration out
Didn't have enough protein.
the meat and the oats. It's like sausage and oats.
Sausage and oats.
Have you had it? You've had it.
I've had it. But what I have not had here is Skyline chili.
Chili. Oh, yeah.
I drove by that.
Chili.
No, I rolled by that
Cincinnati
today.
chili.
I rolled by that today. I was like, I wonder if that's any good. Is it good?
Yeah, it's really good.
Isn't there cinnamon in it?
There is. It's like, it has a little sweet, it has a little chocolate.
You lost me.
Taste to it.
Chocolate.
You lost me at cinnamon. They probably
And it
put
served
pasta in it too.
But it's served over noodles, right?
Yeah, the key is like you have to get whatever you think that chili is, whatever your southern.
Get it
thing
out of
chili,
your mind.
Get it out of your brain. Don't compare it to that. Don't expect that, and you'll be just fine.
Is it more like spaghetti?
It's its own thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know about that, Brian.
Yeah.
It's a mountain of cheddar cheese on the top. It's
the thing
fantastic.
about, for a long time, I've trusted you in a lot of areas. But this is one area. I don't know if there's credibility there. Which brings me to, how long have we known each other? We were talking about it a little bit last night.
15, 16 years.
15,
Somewhere around
16
there.
years. That's awesome. You've been a good guy for 15 or 16 years. No, I was telling Nathan, we were chatting about like, man, we got to get different people this year in 2026. It's a big year. I think this is going to be a great year. And we were talking about, there's certain people we want to make sure that we have a conversation with on our podcast. And when we were making the list, Brian Cromer was at the top of the list. And I'll tell you some of the reasons why and some of the questions that we kind of wanted to chop it up with you about. We'll show you why. But man, for 16 years, before we were, leaders working together and whatever, we've just been friends. Yeah. And I think even last night we were having a conversation about like, that's the most important thing to us, more than what we get to build, more than what we get to do. Like we actually love each other and we love our families, and you've been a good friend to me. And I just, I told Nathan, I was like, we got to have Brian on here. And so
we've had you on the list since day one.
Yeah, we have.
Long time coming.
And so,
well, we were talking last night just about how much we value now longevity.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever valued longevity more than right now in my life. And
why do you think that is?
Yeah.
It's so special. I think it's rare. I think that's probably more than anything is just that it's very easy to have short relationships, but it's way harder to have longevity in relationships, especially that go through different seasons and different chapters. And we've lived different places, but still being able to still be friends. It's so special. Yeah. And it's special because it's rare.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was, you and I talk about this a lot, but I was saying to him when we were chatting about that, I said, you start to look at the friendships that you have, the relationships that you have, and you're like, do I really want to have to push reset and start that over with someone else? Like, is there anything that you could say or do, or I could say or do that's like so bad that we can't figure it out, work it out, offense or whatever, or are we willing to say, you know what, whatever, 16 years down the drain and start over with somebody? Like, and I don't understand how people do that or even willing to do it. I'm always like, man, just get two chairs in the room, shut the door, figure it out. We're not going to walk out till it's worked out. And like, it's worth it. And the more you can do it, because you and I have had hard conversations over the years. You've had hard ones with me. I've had hard ones with you. And but I feel like every time we've been committed to like, let's keep doing this. Let's keep, because it is something that's rare, and I'm very appreciative of you for that, for investing in our friendship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've watched you for 16 years lead in a lot of different environments, some small environments, some large environments, some environments that have been pioneered by someone else that you've come in to steward, maybe their vision, steward the opportunity in front of you. Then I've watched you even now, like, man, you're pastoring such a phenomenal church. Last night, it was amazing. In service with you last night, just seeing the team that's been built, the culture that's there, the hunger in the church and the people there. But so I've seen you in all these different environments over the years leading. And I think that the thing that I've watched you do, and there's a lot of things we'll talk about, but one of the things that I've watched is that over time, whoever it is in any environment, you have this ability to really build a really solid, healthy team. It's really good. Like I noticed it last night, even whenever we got in there and everybody's goofing off with the prayer moment.
Yeah.
And, but there was just such a sense of unity and alignment. And like everybody wants to be in there. It wasn't, I even told you, I was like, I didn't sense drama. I didn't sense whatever. Like you've been really good at building teams. How has that been like a focus for you? Or has it been intentional? Has it been just like, you just do it? Like how have you approached that?
Yeah, I mean, I think some would be just doing it, but then I think part of it is, I think some very intentional things of, I think I've just always tried to care at the first, before anything, before correcting, before doing anything leadership wise or ministry wise, just being able to say, do I genuinely care about the people that I'm around and the team that I'm a part of?
That's like a litmus test for you.
100%. Like, do I care? It's more of a heart check more than it is anything else, because it's so easy when you are leading something to not view people as like, this is somebody I care about. This is somebody that, is a soul, is a person. Like I love these people. And do I care, but then do I communicate that I care? Do I show that I care? Am I living like I care? I think that is huge. And first and foremost, of just creating an environment where people truly do care about each other.
I think the interesting thing with that though, and maybe you can speak to this some because you still work in some environments that are not church related, but like we've had people that where we've talked about that, like in previous pods or whatever. And we've had people that are obviously in the comment section that are not working at a church or in a spiritual environment. And they're like, they call it BS. Like people in management don't actually care about you because they've never experienced this.
Yes.
It's just numbers and productivity and moving product to profit and things like that. So what would you say to like somebody that's maybe not in a church environment, in leadership, in management, or maybe not, they're kind of underneath, they're a subordinate. Like how do you foster that dynamic in an environment that's not faith-based or has some kind of moral compass?
Yeah.
Well, has anybody not liked it when somebody cared about them?
That's great.
Ever. Right. I mean, like for real. And even right now, I'm rereading The Way of the Shepherd.
Yeah. It's a great book.
And great book. And it's not a church book. It's not a church leadership book. And it's all about, a guy's about to step into the corporate workspace and he's getting, mentored by one of his college professors. And he just walks him through that ultimately all you're doing is shepherding people.
Yeah.
That you're going to go lead at this company, but really what you're doing is you're shepherding the 9 people that are on your team.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
More than you do anything else, no matter what field that applies.
Yeah.
And it starts with just simply caring about the people that you're leading.
Also think for those kinds of organizations, you might not be pastoring a church.
Right.
But in any organization, your reputation precedes you. And if you're trying to hire great people, but you're not treating the people on your team well, and they're going to other organizations, well, then your reputation precedes you. And so those people are probably going to spread a poor reputation about you, which is going to make it harder for you to hire the people that you actually want. So I do think even from a business perspective, not saying that, I think it costs you in the long term to have a bad reputation because you're having to invest to fight that. Where if you just cared for the people, maybe you don't have to have the same outcome of trying to keep them in the church the same way that a pastor does. You might need to exit them from your organization, but can you still do that in a way that's caring?
I remember there were organizations when we lived in San Francisco in the Bay Area where you'd hear 2 different stories when it came to people talking about the tech companies that they worked for. Either one is, that company burns through people or eats up their people or whatever. And then the other one was, and this was rare, but every once in a while you hear somebody say, that company, they take care of their people. They're communicating care. And guess where people wanted to go? They want to go to that company.
Well, you know what? We were just talking about longevity of relationship right before we started recording. And I recently looked at Meta's leadership team over the past several years. And 90% of their leadership team has been with them for 10 plus years.
Oh, yeah.
And an industry in tech where people normally stay an average of 2 years max. And so think about they're one of the leading organizations, incredible bar for output and effectiveness and competency, but still are able to keep people motivated, engaged, and have longevity amongst their leadership team, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
Are you an executive leader looking to level up? Or are you leading a team that could use a crash course into effective leadership? Our Leadership Masterclass teaches 7 essential leadership skills that you can implement immediately with your team. These are practical, proven strategies to help you lead with clarity and confidence. If you're ready to transform your leadership, sign up today at sidecarleader.com and get started with resources that you can use right away.
That's great. So care is the first kind of thing that's been, when you think of building team and building people.
And I think the other thing that I just go back to over and over again is just the gift of clarity. I say all the time to our church, I say all the time to our team, the greatest gift I can ever give you is clarity.
Mm-hmm.
I think so many people want big vision. And I do too. If we're going to go for something, let's go for something big. Let's get a big vision. Let's pray. Let's dream. Let's do that. But the greatest gift is not just big vision, it's clear vision so that everybody knows what they're doing and knows where we're going and knows how we're going to try to get there and knows what their expectation is and knows what the level of, hey, this is what I expect out of everybody that ends up, underneath my leadership. And I'm going to hold you accountable to that. Ultimately, at the end of the day, that's a clarity exercise whenever you do that.
That what you just said is so worth going back to. The greatest gift you can give is not big vision, but clear vision.
Yeah.
That's so good.
We use you as a case study oftentimes when we're coaching.
When we're talking about communicating vision.
We actually, and so not saying that to flatter you, not that anything I could say after 16 years is going to flatter you, but we do. We use it as a case study, and I don't know if we have the framework perfect, but I think it was one time we were visiting Queen City or maybe I was or something, and I came back and told Nathan, I was like, Brian did this really well. I took note of it. Is you got in front, and this was on a weekend. It wasn't even a staff meeting or whatever, but it was in front of an entire church, a room filled with people, and you were very clear. You said, hey, church, I want to let you know what the next 30 days are going to look like. Here's where we're going. Here's why we're going there. Here's how we're going to get there. And here's how that affects you. Here's how you can be a part of it. It was like just very clear. And it was information, but there was also inspiration in it, but it was very clear instruction and an invitation. That's what I would say. A very clear invitation to come and be a part of this and let's do this together. And I think that framework is just it's helped us a lot in coaching people. Yeah. And a lot of people we've had that conversation with, they've said that's been the easiest framework for them to run with.
And I love it because what you do with that so well is you take announcements into an opportunity to actually lead people and invite them into what you're doing. So announcements aren't just let me make sure you have this information, but let me show how you can engage in the vision of whatever it is that we're doing.
I tell our team all the time, I don't do announcements. Ever.
Yeah.
You need an announcement, I'm not your guy. if you need me to cast vision with information, I'm your guy.
I'm your guy.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's good. So care and clarity. Any other great C's you want to throw out there for me? You pastor.
What's the third one?
Courage. No, I mean, I think those are the two that really come first and foremost, just in my mind of these are the things that are, but it's more like these fundamentals that's just going back to over and over and over again.
Yeah.
You'll never stop caring and you never stop the need to be clear. Ever.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. I'll throw in a third C there for you. You're building a church and you have an amazing church that you guys have been building. When you think about competency, you've got to have that as part of it. But you also can't compromise competency for the spiritual health of someone as well. So when you're bringing people onto your team, how do you look at those two pieces? And do you ever view it as they're pitted against each other? And I need to hire one for one of those over the other? Yeah, I'm curious how you think about that.
I think in our journey of that, I don't think we've ever been able to get anybody on our team that's a 10 out of 10 on either of those sides.
Yeah.
And
you're looking for potential, and your job is
and it's potential, and even I think about my life, and if you were to ask that question about me in my journey of ministry, even till now, 21 plus years of doing full-time ministry, I'm sure that if you ask the people that took chances on me and there's probably I feel like that guy is probably emotionally mature and he's good And then 6 months in, you get in and then you pull a rock in a meeting and you're like, oh my goodness, that's underneath there. Well, then we got to deal with that. And then, hey, this life circumstance happened and now that I have to wrestle with that. I think it's like this constant journey in both of those things that we want to constantly be growing in both of those areas. I know I do. I know I want to grow in my competency and like it's like Psalm 78 where David says like the skill of hand and the integrity of heart. Like I think that is the perfect framework for how to raise up leaders, and not just in the church, but I think in any sphere. It's like people with integrity of heart, like their heart is right. They're spiritually healthy. They're emotionally healthy. There's integrity of heart. But then there's also a skill of hand. Like we're actually good at what we're doing.
Yeah, I think,
and I desire both of those things.
I think if I were to contrast church and businesses many times hire for skill of hand and integrity of heart. And when I say integrity of heart, integrity comes from integer, means whole. So a whole person, they holistically, there's character, all those different qualities. So a lot of times it's like skill is prioritized when heart is minimized. Then in the church, you have people with a great heart and a bad voice. They've got the heart. A lot of times we hire for heart and not for skill. But I love what you're saying is like, the reality is leadership's messy, ministry's messy, all those things are messy. You hire for, wherever somebody's at, whatever your threshold is for skill level and character level, knowing that no one comes in at a 10 and your job as an overseer and a manager or a developer is to, again, take the ownership. The onus is on you, the responsibility to develop them. Now they have to be willing to grow and to develop, but like you're not going to get 10s. Like I don't know if it was you and I, or maybe Pettis and I, or somebody. We were all speaking at it was at Gateway years ago. We were outside doing a youth leadership panel, and there was a group of us on the panel, and we were all talking about team and all this kind of conversation. And we got to Q&A. Guy raised his hand in the back, and he asked the question, and he goes, "Hey, you guys all sound like you have all 10s on your teams." And he was like, "How did you attract all these incredible leaders?" And it was like, I don't know who said it, but it was like a quick response. Said, "None of us attracted incredible leaders. We attracted incredible potential. And we had to do the work." Yeah. And it was like, that's exactly what you're saying. It's like, you just got to be willing to do it. Like, and if you get a 10, awesome. If you get to hire a 10, praise God. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Here at Sidecar Leader, we don't just develop content that we hope adds value to you. Our bread and butter is really our coaching. If you're feeling stuck as a leader, whether you're navigating growth, strategic planning, staffing decisions, or tackling your toughest priorities, our one-on-one coaching sessions are here to guide you. Together, we'll identify the strategies and steps that will take your leadership to the next level. It's time to invest in your growth because your vision and your team deserve it. If you're ready to get started, you can visit sidecarleader.com/coaching. We can't wait to work alongside of you.
I'm curious, I'd love to, when we're talking about teams, I mean, your church has grown drastically over the past few years. Your team has looked differently as well. And I feel like one of the things that I think that you have a superpower in, maybe you would say otherwise, would just be your focus and your discipline. You have an incredible work ethic. It seems like you're able to go in and know what is important, focus on those things, and execute on them well, which I think is maybe a more rare quality in someone who's also a founder and a visionary, because oftentimes the strength of being a visionary can contrast with executing on the vision. Yeah. Whereas if you have a great vision and you're failing to execute on that, that can actually exhaust your team. So do you feel like that's been a natural superpower for you, or one that you've had to learn throughout your journey?
Yeah. I think it's how I'm wired.
Okay.
To be able to say, but also I think just because you're wired to something, there still has to be development in that thing. And like, I love vision. And vision's like an address, right? It's like, here's where we're going. We're not there yet. That's why it's a vision. And so I love doing that. I love doing that by myself. I love doing that in my family. I love doing that in my parenting. I love doing that with a team of like, hey, where are we going? Where's God want to take us? And so we're here. and God wants to take us here. Well, we have a gap that's here. I think how God made me is, I think, in these small little steps to be able to actually get there.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those things where like it drives me crazy when somebody would say like, oh, Brian, you're a systems guy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a systems guy. I'm a vision guy. That's why I don't just like systems to like systems. I like good systems that deliver vision.
Yeah. That's great.
I don't like a bad system.
Yeah. You don't want a system for the sake of the system.
No. And we'll change whatever system to accomplish
Systems
the vision.
do not inspire people.
Yeah.
No. And so that for me is like, that's what I love, because if you don't have those things, then you really don't have a vision.
Yeah.
You just have a dream at the end of the day. And I don't want just dreams. I want a vision.
Yeah.
And so I think that there's a natural wiring in me to think in steps, to thinking, well, for us to do this, we got to go to here, then to here, and then to here, then to here. And we have this much time left, and then we got to go here.
Yeah.
And I can just tell you, a team loves when you get a vision and you actually make it there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what's compelling to people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
making them feel like they're winning.
Yeah, you're winning.
Mm-hmm.
Who doesn't want to be a part of a winning team?
No doubt.
Yeah.
You know,
you said, talking about vision, that a clear vision is better than a good vision. So how do you know when you have not just a good vision, but a clear vision? Or when you need to go back and continue to refine on clarity?
Yeah. I mean, I think so many times I'm hardly ever doing something by myself. And so we do everything team. I think a lot of that's like my background, played a lot of sports growing up. I've like, even today, like at our church, if you hang around, we're not saying things like staff, we just say team, team, everything's team. And so even that process, even though I have a role on that team, and part of the role on that team is to be able to talk vision, think vision, set vision, it's still, I don't go into a room, man of God style, and like,
thus saith.
Okay, I'm coming out. I've heard the Lord, and this is where God is taking our church. And if you're not like down with what we're doing, then you can get out of our church because this is what I said, because this is the role that I play.
Yeah.
No, I think everything when it comes to even getting vision, it's held very open-handed of, I just want what God wants, period. Whether that comes through me, whether that comes through somebody else, whether that comes through, I bring an idea and then we keep talking about it and praying about it. And so we won't move forward until I have an amazing team that I get to be a part of on our lead team, on our church, and any vision decision, it's 100% unity in that room.
Yeah.
And we will not rush it. We will not force it. We will not expedite something for the sake of, we don't really have conviction about it. I think conviction is the separator. You want to know the C? Yeah. Bam. Right there. Conviction. Right
Come
there.
on, baby. Hey, let me jump in right here. What do you say to the person? Because I've had conversations with people that we've coached or consulted with that's in the leader role, like you, and they've asked me questions like, well, they'll say like, I don't know about getting in the room and giving all these other people a voice into the vision. You've probably heard that from people before, leaders, and I know it could be case by case. It could be that person's on previous bad experience. It could be their own insecurity, whatever. But
could be the model they're used to.
Could be the model they're used to. So like, what do you say to the leader that like, they don't lead the way that you're talking about? And I don't hear you saying that is the way or whatever, but from your perspective and your experience, you've seen that it's been effective. What would you say to the leader that's struggling to let there be weigh-in with other people on the team to the vision, to get clarity, to get alignment, to go where you're going?
I think the clarity is in the roles that everybody plays. When I go into those meetings, I know the role that I'm playing, and they know the role that they're playing. So I'm not asking them to do my job or to do my role. It's almost like if, we had a water bottle and we put it in the center of this conversation, and I looked at it and it was a smart water bottle, and I saw smart water. And that was from my perspective. That's what I see. But if you're on the other side of that, you're like, that's not what there's no smart water. I don't see that. you see a barcode and maybe some of the little small writing that has the nutritional contents of whatever that water is or where it came from. And then you see something totally different. Well, who's right?
Yeah.
We're all right. But the only way to get the full perspective is to get the perspective of everybody in the room.
Yep.
And that's how you can make great decisions, is you have to have the full, and that's just how I view conversations like that. And if I don't value what the person over there, that's either on me, like that's saying something about my heart, that's saying something about pride I have in my heart, or that speaks to maybe that person is not in the right seat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you been in those meetings before where the leader, if it's the lead pastor, the CEO, the founder, whatever, they come in and they basically monopolize the entire meeting and conversation, giving no one the opportunity to speak into it? Have you been in those meetings before? And then conversely, have you been in a meeting where that leader comes in and actually doesn't say anything and lets people talk, and then they're kind of taking in everything, and then they synthesize it, and then they kind of say back to what everyone's saying, and then kind of speak into the moment? Have you been to meetings like that are totally like, what's been your experience with that? And what was your perception of the team as a whole, and what was your perception of the leader that's leading that team?
The first one, everybody's frustrated. And like, why am I in here?
This
is a waste of my time. As somebody who has significance, as not just in my top 5, it is my number 1.
Really?
Is significance. And so I only want to be a part of significant things, and I want to play a significant role in that significant thing. And my time is significant, and you are wasting my time right now. And that's all I would be thinking in that deal. You just want to hear yourself talk.
Ooh,
that's it.
Yeah.
And then the second one, if you're just a participator in there, it is so much fun. It feels like I'm being heard. I get to speak into this.
Yeah.
I may not make the final decision.
Yeah.
I may not have the juice to be able to make the final call or the final stamp of approval. But I know that when we start charging that hill, I was a part of the process of getting there.
Yeah.
So let's go.
Yeah.
Well, you and I have a mutual, all three of us, we have a friend that is in a leadership role. It's a very big role. And he's not a better necessarily leader than his predecessor. He's just a different leader. It's a different leadership style. But it's interesting because the way that he's leading his team is he's actually grown his leadership team to like this massive number. It is like 80 people on his leadership team or something. Went from like 8 to 80. And it's a little chaotic the way the meeting's led, and a little, I don't want to say chaotic. It's a little unorthodox, I should say. But the crazy thing is he lets everyone speak. He lets everyone contribute. It's totally different style of leadership. But I've talked to a lot of the people that are in that room, and there's so much more ownership now. I don't want to say so much more from previous, but they feel so much more ownership because now they're a part of this conversation, and their voice feels like it's not just heard, but it actually matters.
Yeah.
And it carries weight, and they're all collaborating, and it's just fascinating to see that, when people actually feel like their voice matters into it.
Well, one of the things we say all the time is where there's weigh-in, there's buy-in.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we'll do these 3-day coaching offsites with churches.
Yeah.
And I would say for the most part, within the first 4 to 6 hours, you and I probably know what their 3 to 5 initiatives they need to work on are.
Yeah.
We could fill that out and deliver it to them within 3 hours and go home and save 2.5 days worth of work. But there are these 3-day offsites that we do. And the reason for that is because we could do that and deliver it to them, but they wouldn't do much with that. But if they've had the opportunity to your point, give their perspective, say where they think the pain points are and the problems are, and then for themselves, get to that conclusion at the end of those 3 days, write it on their roadmap, there's so much more buy-in that they have. Yeah. And they're like, you're not having to ask them to then go work on that. They're like ready to go and work on it because they see what the solution of it could be. They understand if we accomplish this vision, here's the results that it's going to take as well.
Is your team ready to thrive? Do they have the resources and clarity that they need to succeed? In our team coaching sessions, we provide the tools and principles needed to drive health and growth, and most importantly, clarity in your organization. We believe that clarity brings the confidence to lead effectively. So many times we're too close to the problems to see them correctly. And through coaching, we're able to bring objectivity and no emotional attachment to help you see your organization clearly. Together, we'll develop a strategic path that empowers your team to implement best practices and take on new challenges with confidence. Let's unlock your team's potential. Want to learn more? Head over to sidecarleader.com/coaching and let's talk about your goals and how we can help you accomplish them.
I love that. It seems like for you, the process of clarity really comes through the team that you lead.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
Hey, on the heels of talking about team, I want to talk about duality of relationship. Like, in all the years I've watched you, you know, it's like you have multiple hats with these people that are on team. You're their pastor, you're their leader, now you're their boss. You're also their friend. And the unique thing about you is the way that you foster like a sense of family. You know, I think a lot of the people I've watched for years that have been a part of team, that are still a part of team, there is this sense of family, a family dynamic. So that is complicated.
Yes.
That is complex. That is hard to do. That's something that most, you know, companies, they don't have to really deal with that. It's like, it's top down. And
you're just their boss.
So let's talk about that. Like, just leading through the duality of relationship, the complexities there, the challenges you felt. How have you done that in a healthy way, in a way that, like, you know, because people are going to get their feelings hurt. People are going to whatever. Like, just speak to it a little bit.
I think first is like, there's a conviction that I have. I think it all comes from that. Like, if I were to boil down the why I not just do that, but why I choose that, why I enjoy that, is because I just have a deep conviction that you cannot put a price tag on doing life and ministry with people you truly love.
Yeah.
There is a unique joy that comes when you get to experience that.
Yeah.
And so for me, everything kind of comes from that. But then there comes you can have that conviction, but if you don't know how to do that, and I think a lot of it comes back to that clarity piece of, I try to be very clear of, this is the hat that I'm wearing right now. I will literally even do
that
hand motions of, I'm taking this hat off and I'm putting this hat on. And even in a long conversation, you may wear different hats, but unless you clearly tell them, this is the hat that I'm wearing.
Doing this in a conversation.
Yeah, man. And, you know, like that is so important to be able to communicate clearly, hey, this is the hat. But at the end of the day, I think that, you know, a lot of the conversation that we've had, even in this conversation, is about clarity down.
Yeah.
But there's another, I think, equally important, you know, trait that has to happen up. And so if clarity down, then it has to be maturity up.
That's great.
Because the only way that works is if the people that are, you know, and when I say down, I mean, everybody's equal, but like there's organizational clarity to where
layers of
who's
leadership,
leading who, layers of leadership. And so to be able to be very clear on the people that I'm leading, here's the hat that I'm wearing in this meeting, this conversation. Hey, right now, let me just put on my pastor hat and you said something, so let me just take a moment to shepherd your heart. Or no, I have to put on the lead pastor boss hat and, hey, this happened. Let's have a coaching conversation. Let's have a correction conversation. And yes, clarity down. But equally important is the maturity that they have on there to be able to extend that back.
Yeah.
I think the duality can only happen if there's that maturity as well.
Yes.
I shared one time in one of our podcasts, or maybe it was just a little snippet, like a little clip or something like that. I shared something similar. I think we were talking more about relational oversight and you know, how to have that conversation, boss, brother, believer, that whole thing. And someone said on there, well, that sounds good philosophically, but that seems very mechanical. And so I think I probably got spicy and popped off back or something. You know me for 16 years. So what would you say to the person that's like, oh, well, that feels too mechanical, you know, to be like hat on, hat off, this, that, whatever. I know you and I know your heart that's actually a gift. There was a season where I worked for you, and I think you had to have that. You're like, hey, we're taking the friend hat off. Let's go with this. And I didn't feel like it was mechanical.
Mm-hmm.
But what would you say to the person that's maybe they've been in environments that felt sterile or mechanical or overly produce is not the right word, but you know what I mean? Like this seems too robotic.
Too rigid.
Too rigid. Like
Yeah.
how would you say to them?
I think it would go back to, am I showing before that conversation that I care about you?
Yeah. That's
Because the reason why I'm doing it is because I care about you.
great. Yeah. That's the foundation that all this is
Absolutely.
built on.
Everything else is built on that, because I've never had anybody complain about that or not enjoy that.
Neither have I.
Yeah.
You know, never.
They're usually thankful.
Never.
They're actually usually thankful for it.
And at the end of the day, I think what I would say is you just try it.
Yeah.
Try it and see. And I think, and I'm not saying that how I lead people is the only way to lead people, but I will say that there's been fruit, and fruit don't lie.
Yeah.
At
That's
the
right.
end of the day.
That's right.
Well, one of the things you always say is clear is kind and unclear is unkind. So I think just by that,
Yes.
giving the clarity of, hey, right now I'm coming to you as your pastor, or right now I'm hanging out with you as your friend.
Mhm.
That is a kind thing to
Yeah.
do to people, so they know how to relate to you in that moment.
Yeah. I think with that particular comment, when it came in at me, I probably took offense to it a little bit. But I was like, well, whatever system you're currently working in, how's that working out for you? You know,
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking. And,
Absolutely.
I think for me, like going back to like what you're saying, the leaders, because I had a guy, Mike Heyman, Pastor
Yeah.
Mike led me that way. And Mike was like highly relational. Like, bro, he'd pick me up in his little Honda Accord and we'd go to games together and just hang. But there was also times where he had to take off this big brother hat and he had to put on the pastor hat. And then whenever I came on staff and I worked for him, there were times, and he would literally say, he was like, hey, listen, I love you, but we're going to take off. And he would actually use that language too. I'm going to take off this hat and I need to take a moment and just pastor you a little bit. There's some things you need to hear me say, but you need to hear it from a different angle, not from just a brother angle.
Mhm.
And I never felt like he's putting on or he's, being robotic or rigid with me. And I think probably what just illuminated for me is the word care that you said, because I never questioned if Mike cared about me. I always knew that Mike loved me, cared about me, and he saw my potential and believed in me and saw not just who I was, but who I could become. And he was always speaking to my potential, calling me up, not just calling me out, but calling me up to something greater, And it all stemmed from that foundation of care.
Yeah.
Well, the long-term results of that, Jason, is security
Yeah.
and safety.
Yeah.
Where if you're being led like that over and over and over and over again, that you're not going to be sitting in a friend hat environment and then all of a sudden out of nowhere without any warning, you're going to be corrected.
Yeah.
There's going to be a level of, okay, I'm safe. Like we're just watching a ball game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're just working out,
Yeah.
and
It's like a healthy predictability.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, there's no one worse to work with than the people who you don't know what you're going to get that day.
Mhm.
One day they're super happy and they're easygoing, and the next day they're down and you can barely get a word out of them, and then the next day they're somewhere in between. So I think to your point, it just gives that security, safety, and I know how to follow you as well.
That's really good.
Yeah.
another C, consistency.
Oh, let's go.
There we
on
go.
Consistency.
I'm curious, with the duality of relationship that comes with, I think specifically being a pastor, have there ever been times where maybe it's the person didn't show that maturity up that you talked about, or for other reasons where you've had to
That's
put
good.
more relational distance between you and them? And if so, how did you process that or even
That's good.
grieve that?
I don't know if I would characterize it as what you described,
Okay.
but what I would characterize it as is people learning that leadership style. I think that not everybody right away understands that, gets that, has been in an environment like that. So there has to be a grace period
For them
for
to
that,
learn that.
to be able to learn and to be able to be on the other side of that. And that I think requires a little bit extra of time and a little bit of extra. It's like anytime you start to lead somebody new, there's a level of like, oh man, like I got to start this all over again.
Yeah.
And got to make sure that they're cared for and made sure, because a lot of times even somebody's heart and life needs to be shaped and needs to have places in their soul that maybe need to be healed to even be able to receive and to be able to do that. And you kind of start with some of those things. And then the more that you do that, the longer it is, the better it gets.
Because they're most, would you agree with this statement? They're most probably going to relate to you the way that they related to their previous boss, because that's what they know.
Yes.
So if they're and whatever whatever type of leader their previous boss was, you're probably automatically painted into that light. You know.
What if your team had a clear roadmap for the next 12 months on what was most important, complete with objectives, key metrics, owners, and deadlines? And not only that, but also the accountability to see the plan through. Through our team planning offsites, we're able to help you unlock and identify where you are, where you want to go, and how to get there. With a focus on goals, key metrics, and actionable strategies, we'll build a plan that keeps you on track all year and provide the accountability to ensure that you execute what you planned. If you plan your work and you work your plan will work if it's a good plan. If you're ready to set up your team for success, clarity, and a clear roadmap moving forward, you can go to sidecarleader.com/coaching and let's make your vision a reality.
And I think we've experienced that a lot as lead pastors.
Yeah.
That there's people that think certain things about us and has nothing to do with us.
Yeah.
They approach us a certain way, has nothing to do with us, has everything to do with the seat that we sit in and experiences from the past.
Yeah. That's really good.
Yeah.
Hey, I would love to shift gears a little bit and chat with you about this. I was telling Nathan a little bit about your story, and we won't go into all the details of it, but I was telling him a little bit about your story that I don't know if he was aware with some of it, but just some of your journey through some of the different organizations or churches that you've been a part of. And I share with him some of the not so pleasant experiences that you've had. And I think he was kind of shocked at some of the things that I told him that was pretty brutal. And you've had some great experiences.
Yep.
But you've also had some not so great ones that the average Christian today would say, that's church hurt. I've been hurt by a church. Which then, and people, I know that there's legitimate church hurt that's out there.
No doubt.
And you have gone through some very tough seasons where I would agree, I would probably say that should warrant church hurt. And yet, I've watched you through these years. I've never sensed that your love for the church has diminished or your love for people has diminished. If anything, it's almost been like fuel for the fire. It's that I've seen your love grow for the church, your love for people grow, and that's a rare quality. I think that a lot of people go through hard things, whether it be a church or a bad organization or whatever, and it just causes them to get super jaded, very cynical, very mean-spirited, whatever. And yet you haven't allowed that to happen. And so what has it been that's helped you with that to continue to love the church, to continue to love people, to continue to have, I mean, you're sitting here talking about caring for people, being gracious and patient with people and their process coming on staff. Like, that's not every leader that I talk to. Because a lot of times I talk to leaders that are like, and pastors that sometimes I'm like, dude, you sure you're a pastor? Like, you are rough. You seem mean. And I think oftentimes it's because they've gone through it. They've been hurt by people in their church, or they've been hurt by, and yet I don't sense that with you. Like, how have you guarded your heart? How have you kept it soft?
Well, and here's what I think this matters so much when Jason shared more of your story with me is, everyone goes through hurt. And so I think hurt is inevitable. But what your story shows is that bitterness is not.
It's good.
And so how have you gone through hurt that everyone does, but avoided or not come out bitter on the other side of it?
Yeah, I think some just the grace of God. But I think that what has never changed, no matter what I've experienced, is I think my belief, or even the theology, if you will, of the church.
Yeah.
And that I truly believe it's not just a saying that the church is the hope of the world.
Yeah.
I truly believe it. And I believe it is a perfect vehicle that is driven often by imperfect people, including myself.
Right.
And I think just having that as like this balancing anchor in my soul, no matter what I've experienced, because you're right, Nathan, we've all experienced hurt. I did not get hurt by the church. I got hurt by people. that's just the truth. And and so like for me, that has been something that for me, and I think the older that I've gotten, and honestly, the more I've sat in this seat, I think that before I sat in this seat, some of it I truly do think is the grace of God that led me through certain seasons. But I think being in this seat specifically, I think one of the areas that I've tried to grow in the most is just in empathy. I think I'm naturally a very unempathetic person. Let me be more specific, that when I've been through something, I'm good. Like I can relate with you. I can walk with you. I can probably give you counsel. I've been there. I've done that. I feel that deeply. Or when going through something and I can put myself in your shoes and I agree with it. But where I really struggle is sometimes where like I don't have a box for what just happened. I don't have a box for what you just did.
I relate to you a lot in that.
Yeah. And like for me, I felt so much conviction actually coming out of COVID that I need to be proactive in counseling. And one of my biggest goals when I sat down with my counselor for the first time was I need to grow in empathy, and I need to do that. And I think the more that I've tried to just through hard work and the power of the Holy Spirit to change and to grow in that area, the more I feel like I have a heart for people, even when they make a mistake. The more I can see I've made mistakes.
Yeah.
The more I've seen there may be somebody somewhere that could tell a story of church hurt that's connected to Brian Cromer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that breaks my heart that anybody would ever experience that. And that would never be my heart. That would never be my intention. So how come I can't extend that same mentality and that same grace towards somebody that may have hurt me?
Right. That's great.
Yeah, that's really good. I love what you said. The church didn't hurt me. Someone hurt me, or a person hurt me.
Yeah.
And I do think there's a lot of nuances to it. So I'm definitely not covering every case.
Yeah, there's a lot of things. Well, there's churches, people. And
Yeah. But I do think that it's very easily at times to be hurt by an individual, but then put that hurt onto a system.
Yeah,
or onto an institution.
I will say that there's something about being hurt by somebody connected to the church that is just different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it,
why do you think that is?
think about it. Does anybody say work hurt?
No. You're bugging to go get another job.
Man,
you got to pay the bills.
I've had some work hurt.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's not even, think about like how much hurt is associated with family.
Yeah.
Right.
There's not a term that's family hurt, friend hurt.
Yeah.
There's a source of so much hurt that comes from other places, but the only one that has the title is church hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, butt hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is true, man. There was I don't have my phone on me. There was a statement I saw somebody post the other day about the, you know, as I'm going to botch this, but it's like as Christians we can't. You can't have God as father without having the church as mother. It's like it's some kind of statement, kind of like that. It's like it's together. It's like, you know, and I think that people go through church hurt, go through these things, and then they kind of divorce themselves from the church, and they're like still connected to God, and they have a spirituality that's like between me and the Lord, but not with the church and all this kind of stuff. And it's just historically, it's just you can't do that. It's just not there. Yeah. And then the sad thing is, then you have people that go to the extreme. It's like, well, then I'm kind of gonna with all of it all together, you know. And I don't know. I just wanted to comment on it because I've watched you do it, and I think it's more so me taking a moment to honor you in that because you're one of those leaders that I've actually seen you get softer as a leader, and it's a pretty awesome thing. You know, like I've seen the work that you're doing, working to get empathy, gain empathy, be more caring, and it's evident, and it's making you a more, not just a more effective leader, but a more attractional leader. I think more people will be drawn to that. It's like circling back to the very beginning thing that we talked about. It's like, I think people are drawn to people that truly care about them. You know, it's like what's the old Maxwell quote? People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. You know? And I know that, and I never want to ask a question like that and minimize like people that have been hurt by church, because I know there's a lot of abuse out there. There's a lot of spiritual abuse and sexual abuse and all these different things that have gone on. But I think my heart, like I've grown up in church, and I've got a story myself of some things to make me feel church hurt. But I'm with you. I do believe that a healthy local church, it is the hope of the world.
Yes.
And as many pimples and warts as the church has on her face, she's still the bride of Jesus.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
And it's a worthy cause to give our lives to.
And I think for me, just when I've experienced that, it's, am I leaving room for people to go through the process of sanctification? Is my expectation that anybody I ever associate with or anybody that ever leads me, that they're just going to be absolutely perfect?
Right.
Yeah.
And never make a mistake. Yeah. And when I look in the mirror and I realize how imperfect I am, and when I realize that I am on the process, thank you, Jesus, to be on the process of sanctification, that slow, ongoing will last the rest of my life, and I will never actually get there.
Yeah.
Process of sanctification, becoming more like Jesus, which begs to ask the question, so why in the world would we even pursue that if we can't ever get that? And at the end of the day, it's because even just the process of trying to be more like Jesus is that John 10:10 life that Jesus promises that he offers to us. Just even trying to go after that is the best life that you and I can ever live.
Yeah.
Found on this side of heaven.
Yeah.
And, you know, being able to navigate when somebody has hurt me is to be able to leave room for that person to leave room for that process of sanctification, really that they're on that process just like I am.
Yeah. Don't you wish there was more of that?
Yeah.
And the world that we live in today and in the church.
Yeah.
You know, the church should obviously be more like that, what we're describing here. But it's fascinating how graceless the church can sometimes be with people in their process, in their development, you know, and, you know, I think a good place to be is like, you just got to keep going back to like, if not for grace, where would I be?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
I've heard you say so many times, let's just be guilty of grace.
Just be guilty. If you're going to be guilty of something, be guilty of grace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, thank God for his grace. I have screwed up so many times. It's a much better way to live. Yeah. Well, bro, I love you so much, man. We're so grateful for you, dude.
It's been great.
And just being here at the church, like, dude, I said it last night, like there's such a beautiful atmosphere and spirit. Like you guys have an awesome building. I was so jealous, but it ain't in the building. Like scratch the building, go back to Withrow, go back, put you anywhere, put you in a shoebox. There is a hunger in the church. There is a unity in the team. There's like, it's fun. Like we're down the hall, we're back in the little ready room, getting ready, getting all prepped up, and you can hear the worship team in the other room just going ham, cutting up, dancing. And I just thought, that's the kind of church I want to be a part of. Life-giving. Yeah. And that's the type of church that's the hope of the world. And so we love you, bro. Thank you.
So thank you guys so much.
Let's do it again.